What is going on, my Move the Chains audience? How are we doing tonight on this frisky, fun Friday? I'm feeling a little lucky today, like the Eagles are last night. They got really lucky in that game last night. Divisional game. Commanders, Eagles. I'm going to give my reaction on that. Some concerns a little bit for the Eagles, as I've illustrated before. But hats off to the Commanders last night. I'm going to still call them the Redskins, but great win last night for the Eagles. They're flying high right now. They're 8-2. Commanders are 7-4, but listen, they're still a tough team to play. Jaden Daniel doesn't look right to me. But like I said, the Eagles. Listen, I was thinking about this today, and I want to start with the Commanders. So Washington last night was outmanned last night, and it's a credit to Dan Quinn and his coaching staff. They've done a really, really great job in terms of just getting the most out of their players. They're overachieving this year. And they remind me of Houston last year. Elite coach, star quarterback, young and ascending. But last night, Jaden Daniels, to me, has kind of been a little off lately. He had that rib injury, and it's kind of hurt him a little bit. He doesn't have that same mobility and move, because that's a big part of his success. Obviously, you saw that at LSU in his Heisman winning season last year. But I will say, though, they can win 10 games this year and, get in the back door of the playoffs and get beat first round. That's a hell of an accomplishment. If they got 10 wins this year, bravo. After this nonsense they've been going through for 20 years with Dan Snyder, that piece of shit. Shithead Snyder, as I call him. So, again, a lot of momentum for the Redskins going into the offseason. Build up the trenches. Philadelphia wore on you last night, and Philadelphia does that to a lot of teams. Somebody that doesn't play Jalen Hurts or that kind of style offense right away, you see it a second time, I think you kind of get a better feel for it, and obviously probably Washington will. So, the other thing I wanted to touch on with Washington is they nailed the offensive coordinator hire with Cliff Kingsbury. Obviously, he has dealt with Johnny Manziel and Kyler Murray and those guys, and it just really clicks. And those two are like a great marriage to me right now. Now, the problem is Kingsbury going to go back to Chicago? Is he going to go to the Raiders? I don't know. All I know is if Chicago's calling, you better pray to God he goes. Now, could I see Cliff Kingsbury being the head coach of the Bears? I do not. I know the Redskins are under the radar this year. Down the road, I want to see if they can handle that success and obviously build on it. But right now, the Eagles look like they're going to win this division again, like they did 2 years ago. And I'm just kind of worried with Sirianni, and I've said this from the jump. I am not a Sirianni guy. And last night, what is he thinking? The trick play, he's doing a reverse, and it's back to the quarterback, and I'm like, what are we doing? And this is where I get back to Sirianni. He's a guy that, to me, has like a midlife crisis. Shaves his head. He's going to get the affliction genes with the cross on his ass. He's going to drive a Hummer. Woo! Drive his, leather sport coat. Hey, dude, I got news for you. You're shithead Sirianni. Okay? Stop it. You're a dope. You're not a good coach. And by the way, you're winning Philly because of talent. You're not winning this because of your coaching. And this is what's going to bite Philadelphia in the ass. And if I'm the Eagles, I don't give a rat's ass how far you get in the playoffs. You need to do something. Get a new coach that can maximize his talent. Because last night was on full display. That was a run game, defense, lines of scrimmage kind of game. And listen, if Jake Elliott doesn't miss field goals, that's a bigger margin last night. And Dan Quinn made a questionable decision like 4th and 2. Your guy's not playing well in Jaden Daniels in terms of running because he's been kind of hobbled with the rib injury and it's kind of not been the same. So moving forward for the Redskins, I think you have to wonder, he needs to just take this bye week and just rest if I'm him. Because you have to rest, man. You cannot, you just need to sit. He's been on his feet. He's been walking around. He needs to get some sit down. And if he does that, then I think the Commanders will be in a better place. But to the Eagles side, listen, they're a dangerous team. And I was saying this thought today as I left work today. Could they play with the Lions? And my take is yes, but with an asterisk because I don't trust the coach. If I had trust in Sirianni, Philadelphia and Detroit would be the collision course. Now, Philly obviously would get home playoff game because they're 8-2 right now. And Detroit's obviously got the best record in the NFC. So, my recap on that game is, look, I think Washington has been a great story this year. But that's what they are. They're a really good football team. They're very good. And I give Dan Quinn a lot of credit. He reinvented himself after Atlanta. That Super Bowl collapse. And Jane Daniels is awesome. I would add some more depth on the receiver position. Terry McLaurin's awesome. Excuse me. But in terms of just like doing that sort of thing, they need some more juice on offense. Not to knock Terry McLaurin, he's a great player, but add some more depth. I mean, where's Dwami Brown? I mean, I saw him against the Browns have that big play. Last night, I don't know where he was at. So get a better offensive line because Jaden Daniels needs protection like this. For a guy that's not, he's slender, he's not the biggest guy, and he runs around a lot. So can you build an offensive line and a wall around him to make him flourish? Unlike the guy in Chicago that's not having people help him. And with the Eagles, to me, I want to recap. They just, to me, I just can't trust Sirianni. In big games, big spots. I mean, lately he's just stayed the hell out of the way. And that's all you need to do. Just hover. Be a hover, And I feel like if he does that, then I'm all in on the Eagles. But I do not think they beat Detroit. I don't. Detroit's the best team in the NFC to me this year by far, and it's not even close. The last thing I wanted to touch on was some Fugazi Friday, as I call this. I'm going to have a new segment on here. Oh, what I smell some bullshit. Okay. I just don't understand, to me, why we keep hiring these offensive coordinators that aren't meant to be head coaches. And I'm watching this football right now, and it's a joke. Last weekend was a pure example. It was Snorefest after the games. So, again, why we hire these coordinators, I don't know. Because, to me, having a great offensive coordinator or defense coordinator makes your team better. And when I'm watching these dysfunctional organizations like the Jets, you had Robert Saleh, but yet you fired him. I don't get it. Yes, he may have been over his head. But maybe Aaron Rodgers has something to do with that. Do you ever wonder that? So, and I just think also, I'm not sold on, I'm not into fake. I've said this before. I'm not into fake. I'm not into freak show acts. I see a lot of that in the NFL now. I just see a lot of fake. And I don't know what's going to happen, what's going to change. But the other thing I want to touch on, and it's great having you guys in on a Friday, is last night's game to me felt like a playoff game between the Commanders and the Eagles. Now, could they meet in the playoffs? Potentially. I still think that anything goes through Detroit in the NFC. Now, could they get better? No doubt about it. No question. But I just feel like Detroit is the best team in the NFC. They're going to represent it. They should have last year. They had that chance, and they didn't. So, kind of a snoozer game last night. Ugly football, but I like that kind of game sometimes. You got to have an ugly game. But other than that, stay tuned this weekend. Hit the like, subscribe, share button. Appreciate you guys liking my content, and stay tuned, and I'll talk to you guys soon.